Okay, thanks to my aunt having a free Redbox movie rental and her not using Redbox at all, I got to use it, and I got to use it on Slow West, which I am incredibly grateful for because this is definitely up there right now in my top 10. So if you haven't heard of Slow West, I think I know what you might be thinking. Slow West doesn't sound like something that would be interesting. I mean, slow is not a really good word for a movie title. It just makes you feel like this movie would drag on and the pacing would be just like, slow. But I might as well tell you right now, the movie is only an hour and 25 minutes long, so it's really quick. And while there are some slow build-ups to the main climax of the film, it really doesn't feel that slow. Slow West is a Western which stars Michael Fassbender, Cody Smith-McPhee, Ben Mendelsohn, and even the Hound from Game of Thrones. Well, that last part isn't really true. He's only in the film a few scenes, but he is in it. Now, the overall story of the film is about a teenager named Jay, who is played by Cody Smith-McPhee, who has traveled from Scotland to the West to find his long-lost love, who had to run away from Scotland for some certain criminal reasons. And so this optimistic, innocent, love-stricken boy is traveling west, and he happens to come across, by accident really, Michael Fassbender's character, who is this outlaw of sorts. He's like this mercenary. He's what you'd expect from a Western hero. And so while Michael Fassbender is a little more pessimistic and a little bit more realistic to knowing what the West is about and all of the criminals and outlaws that exist in it, he is paid by the young teenager to find the love of his life. Unfortunately, there is a bounty on the heads of the hero's love and the hero's love's father, and bounty hunters are after them and after Michael Fassbender. And that's the aspects in the film that make it a true Western film. Now, I have to admit that Slow West probably isn't for everyone. It's not as action-packed as some people would like their Westerns today. It's no Django Unchained or the remake to 3:10 to Yuma. It does have a slower pace to it, and it does focus on the characters, and there is development within our characters, not in the broad or the in-your-face sort of way where it tells you the character development, but rather in a very subtle and sometimes easy to miss way. And so, of course, there is this dramatic element to the Western, and there is this very character-driven story within the film. But at the same time, there are these moments of absolutely random violence throughout the film that can keep even the most bored of people entertained from time to time. The strange thing, but highly compelling thing to Slow West is that it is a mixture of several different things. Yes, you get traditional Western throughout the film with the setting, the characters, the climax, the big shootout at the very end of the film. Slow West also has a romantic fairy tale feel to it, with our main hero searching for the love of his life and going on a journey to find her through the West. There's also a great mixture of a lot of little comedic moments throughout the movie. Heck, there's even this one moment in the climax of the film where Michael Fassbender is hiding behind this wall while there's this big shootout going on, and then one of the bandits, he's out of ammo, so he takes cover behind the same wall, starts reloading, and just sort of finds Michael Fassbender, and Michael Fassbender's just sort of like, hey, and he's just like chilling, smoking on a cigar or something. And there's like so many little comedic aspects throughout the film, but some of it is serious enough to the point where it doesn't feel too crazy, it doesn't feel too out of place. There's a lot of beautiful moments in this film, there's a lot of great structure in scenes, and some that are just have such a big impact and such a big reveal by the end of the scene. And one of them is this shootout that happens in this store. Obviously, I don't want to tell you about this scene because I don't want to give any spoilers, because it's best not to know what happens in the scene, so that when this reveal happens at the very end of the scene, you might just gasp. And the whole big shootout at the end of the film, it may not be the biggest action-packed shootout in a Western film, but it's handled with such style, such grace, and there's just such great moments within it that are just plain memorable. Another theme that's interwoven throughout the whole film is this theme about the Native Americans during these Western type films. In Slow West, you get a little bit more realistic approach on Indians in Western films, and you get a little bit more of their struggle and the inhumane ways that people were treating them. In many ways, this Native American theme throughout the entire film serves two different purposes. In one way, you can see it as an apology for how the Native Americans were evil villains in several Western-themed films. Because one of the main scenes is our main kid who's walking through this burnt-down Native American village, and the ash is just covering his face, and it's a pretty horrific scene, and he stumbles upon people that are indiscriminately killing Native Americans. You also get a scene where he's talking to this historian who sympathizes with them. And even one of the main heroes in the huge shootout at the end of the film is a Native American that is actually helping. And now the other way you can think of this Native American theme running throughout the film that I see it as is it's a theme of change. Not only does it give a little bit of social commentary between the Native Americans' conflict with the people moving out west, but it also gives a whole feeling of change throughout the entire film, like something is going to change from the old ways to the new ways. And so by the end of the film you feel like this is just the Old West, and even that is going to be changed by the end of the film. I think Slow West is a really amazing Western that it might not be the most action-packed, but there's a lot of things beneath the surface, a lot of great characters, a lot of things going on with the film, and techniques-wise and directing-wise as well. Before this review, I was debating with myself what score I should give this film, and overall I just gotta say, 5 stars. Yeah, I highly enjoyed it. It's maybe not my favorite Western film of all time because I do like some of the more action-packed Westerns, but everything going for it is great. There's a lot of great surprises. There's a little bit of humor throughout that doesn't feel like it's out of place. So have you gotten to see Slow West? What did you think about it? Go ahead and comment. If not, what is your favorite Western film of all time? There's too many Western films for me to choose from, and there's plenty of classics I haven't seen, so I can't really give you a good answer. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.